I'm going to start us off by going over the rules and the guidelines. I know you guys have been over this in the last 4 sessions, but we just want to give you a refresher so everybody's, fully aware. So first of all, the most important thing is whatever happens in the group stays in the group. If a member breaks this rule, they'll be asked to leave the group. Only one person speaks at a time. This is just to give everybody a chance to speak and say what they have to say. We're still on virtual as of right now, but just for future counseling sessions you guys might have, we got to follow the CDC guidelines, which is to remain 6 feet apart, wear your mask, take your temperature. So moving on from that, this first activity, since you guys have never met me and my co-leader Tyler, we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. So my name is Shelby, and I'll be your group leader today. And one fun fact about me is that I love the beach, so this is the perfect season for me, especially with the weather the past couple days.
And my name is Tyler, and a fun fact about myself is that I love the Philadelphia Eagles, and I would also like for you all to give us a fun fact about yourself, if you don't mind.
Okay. Can we start?
Go ahead.
Okay, so a fun fact about me is that I actually know sign language. I studied this for a year, so I only know like the first stage of sign language, so I'm not like fully there yet, but that's something that I'm very proud of.
That's important. There's a lot of people who don't know sign language, and there's also a lot of people that, are deaf. So I think that's really important for everybody.
A fun fact about me was I recently just won a virtual 5K, and so I basically just took pictures, taken a walk, and submitted it. It was for like an Earth Day thing for the school. So that's something I like. I like winning contests. So that was a fun thing for me.
You go ahead. I have not been able to walk or run since I had children. So bless you.
A fun fact about me is in high school, I went through my entire graphic design pathway, and that's a hobby I like to do on the side.
That's a tough one. That's a good one though. Anybody else want to share?
When I was 27, I lived in Canada for 2 months.
That sounds like fun. That's where Justin Bieber's from, so.
Ooh.
Anybody else want to share? Okay, so we'll move into the activity. I know you guys have all taken time to get to know each other before this, so we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on that. But one thing I wanted to, start out with would be, can you guys give me some of your favorite things about the group thus far? It could be about the dynamic and activity you guys have done, but could you guys elaborate with me on that?
Yeah, I like how the group has came together over the past weeks. We all have learned something from one another, and we all go out each other's way to help each other. And I think that was very important because it built trust.
Definitely.
I agree with Jose. I thought it was really heartwarming how you guys reached out to help me with my various issues that I've been going through. So that's been a very helpful, my favorite part. So thus far.
Yeah, I feel really comfortable sharing with this group as well. I feel like we all do a really good job of listening to each other, giving each other time to talk, and also being supportive towards each other, like Samantha said.
Good.
Yeah, in the beginning, I know it was pretty tough between Samantha and I because we just kind of clashed, but through over the sessions that we had, I came to realize that we are very similar in things that we are concerned about in our sessions and things that we want to work on individually. So I think it's good that we kind of hashed out our differences and we're able to come back together as a group.
It definitely is. You guys, that's an important part of being in a group, is just learning how you can relate to somebody within the group. Does anybody else want to share?
I like all the resources that we got throughout the sessions. Really important, especially if you need help with food insecurities or with our schoolwork. So I've been really happy with all the resources I got. Thank
Yes.
everybody.
And I have some more of that for you guys. At the very end of this, I'll give you guys that to take home with you. It's not really something we need to discuss, but it's going to be there if you guys need it.
Thank you.
All right. So let's go ahead and move into our first activity here. I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Just make sure you let me know if you can see it. Okay. Hey Samantha, it says that you disabled participant screen sharing. I'm sorry.
Right now. I forgot. Like when I went out and came back in, I forgot to change that one. It should work.
Nope, you're fine. I have it now. Alrighty. So let's see. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to briefly go over this with you guys. So these are the 5 stages of grief. I know you guys touched on grief in your first couple of sessions, but I just wanted to loop that back in so we could kind of understand our feelings and what we've been feeling through this entire process. I'm not going to call anybody out personally, but I know there was a few people that I heard were, experiencing some tough loss. So I think this is important for all of us to understand and be able to, understand our peers because we are making friends in this group. So the first stage is denial. When you hear denial, you'll be, things like this can't be happening. You won't accept the loss that has occurred, and you might try to minimize it or make it seem like it's not as big of a deal. It's our job as peers of people who are in denial to just be honest and forward with people and, help them through that. You don't necessarily have to agree or think they're right, but you have to work with them through it because it is one of the important stages of grief. And then it's anger. We kind of wonder why me? Why is this happening to me? Once they start to realize that they really did lose something that was important to them, they can kind of become angry and blame the world, or if they're religious, maybe they'll blame God or whatever, whoever's closest to them. They will, argue that it's unfair, and it is unfair. It hurts a lot, but we just, we work through that, and then people will move into the bargaining stage, which is that they'll do anything to change this. That some people, like I said, if you're religious, you don't have to be. It's no judgment here, but they'll bargain with God. Well, I'll give you this if you let me have my somebody I loved back. Or I'll lose everything in the world if I could just have this one person back. And sadly that doesn't bring people back, but that's a stage that actually lasts a really long time, is that we always tend to bargain. I know personally myself, I bargain a lot. After my losses, that's a stage of grief that I was stuck in. And then the depression stage is, what's the point of going after this? This is important if you've lost somebody especially close to you. You feel like you can't live day to day without them. We have to understand that people's feelings are normal. If they're crying, if they're, really upset, that's completely normal. And, do your best to be sympathetic with them, because you can be on the other side of that at any time. And then the acceptance stage was that it's going to be okay. The individual will just come to accept the loss, and they'll understand the situation and come to terms emotionally with that. So what I would like you guys to do first is I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, but I would like you guys to think about that for a second, elaborate on it, sit on it with yourself, and then write down, or maybe just keep it in your brain, what stage of grief you think you're at. And whenever you guys are ready to share, I'm ready to listen.
So the stage that I totally feel I am like stuck in is denial. Like I've shared like before, maybe too intensely, was that like I'm really upset about losing my brother. I still can't believe like he's not there. Like when I'm getting ready in the morning, I don't have to fight with him for the bathroom anymore. Like there's just all these like different changes. There's I don't know. It's like it's just been like a something that I haven't like wanted to process yet. So I definitely like when you were reading all that, denial was just it. I am in denial about losing my brother, and
Okay, so I completely understand that, and I'm just putting back up my screen really quick so you guys can see this. This is just the activity we're doing right now. I just want you guys to be able to look at it. But I'm having you guys pick out which stage of grief you're in so that you can talk about how it's affected you. So this is just a brief of it, so it's a reminder basically. So does anybody else want to share? I know Samantha's had, a tough time losing her brother, and at first she was in the denial stage, and she may still be in the denial stage, but I think coming from the first session till now, she is definitely working through her grief in a positive way. She doesn't seem as upset or angry, and that's really important, is to just keep moving forward. Anybody else want to talk about what stage they're in?
Yeah, so I'm in the third stage, bargaining.
Okay.
I for me, I haven't lost anybody due to COVID, so I can't relate to what Samantha has gone through. But for me, I think like I mentioned, like in the first few weeks, um, having to do school online has been very difficult to me. So I'm just at the point where I'm getting used to everything.
Right.
I'm adapting to working around online school, and at first I was kind of upset about it because I just thought that it was taking up a lot of my time more than going to school itself. But yeah, at this point I'm just like going with it. I'm doing everything and anything to make it work.
Absolutely. And I'm sure a lot of your peers can feel with you on that. School has been a big thing, work has been a big thing as a part of this pandemic. And one thing I want you guys to remember when you're feeling these things is that you don't necessarily just grieve the losses of people. I know that we talked about that in previous sessions, but you grieve the losses of anything you lose. So whether it's job or your normalcy, and we all kind of lost our normalcy. So does anybody else want to share, maybe even not about losing a person, but something they lost during the pandemic and where they're at with that?
I hate that we've lost our freedom.
Okay.
We
And
can't
what
go out.
stage? Oh, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We can't go out, so it's a little bit of depression, I think, since we can't go out and be with our friends. You have to wear a mask wherever you go. If you see someone you may know in the store, you kind of lose that willingness to go over to them now
Yeah.
because you don't know if they want to talk or not.
Right. Yeah, and I think, we're still all at very different stages. I can say for most of us, I think we're past the denial. I think the denial was in the very beginning when everybody, we all heard from the government, okay, we're going to shut down everything. You have to wear a mask. We were all in denial. Like, no, no, no. Like, our grandparents went through this with the flu pandemic, but we're not going to go through this. But it happened. So, now we're all in these last four stages where, we're not sure whether to be angry or bargain or have, be depressed about it. But it's completely normal, everything that you're feeling. And, you guys can take this activity and you can do this on your own if you weren't comfortable sharing in the group. And if you want to, you can, share with me and Tyler privately after the group, or we can give you a call and we can talk to you privately. But just think about it and where you're at, and please use these resources in the future. If you do happen to lose somebody, I pray you guys don't, but if you do, use these resources to help you in the future. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Tyler because he has an activity for you guys about school.
For this second activity, now that we know that what you guys have taken away from the group and that all your goals were fulfilled, I would like to discuss the different things that COVID have changed regarding school. I would like for everyone to think about the things COVID has changed about school. And once you all have thought about it, if you would like to share, I would like you to think which one of those changes was the hardest for you to adjust to. And once everyone has thought about how COVID changed school and of those changes, which was the hardest to adjust to, if anyone would like to share, I'll go around the room and give everyone a chance to share what the biggest change in school for them was.
The biggest change for me in school was like having to use multiple resources to learn math, like YouTube videos and like the other members of this group, because that's really how I pulled through on math, is just through those extra resources. And that's something that I wouldn't have done like pre-pandemic.
Yes, and then using those extra resources, we've all been sort of forced to use resources we typically may not have, but I believe it's made us all stronger in this tough time. Would anyone else like to share?
I'll go ahead. I think that you know, like just trying to tie in the stages of grief with what I've lost from school and my education. I think that at first I was kind of at the depression stage where I was like, there's no point in doing, you know, online schooling. Like, I'm not learning anything. I'm teaching myself. It's easy for anybody just to cheat. Like, if I'm putting in all this time, who's to say that nobody else is doing the same thing, you know, is cheating their way through it when I'm putting in the work to do it. And then I've kind of like went through the accepting stage where I've just kind of came to conclusion that it's not going to change anytime soon, and this is how it's going to be for quite some time, and who's to know when we'll go back to how things used to be. But I have to realize that I'm not everybody else. I'm my own person, and I need to stop comparing myself to somebody else's education and how they learn, because it could be totally different from my scenario.
Yes, and the way we all learn in different ways as well. Would anyone else like to share?
Okay. Well, you guys, I'm just going to flip over and share my screen with you guys one more time. I've compiled this information and I just want to share it with you guys. I will be sending you guys an email, but I just want to go over it and show you guys what it is. So this first page is what we use for our activity. And I said you guys can of course use this at home. And then this is the more in-depth about the stages of grief if you guys want more information. This is an activity I think would be good for people who are, you know, feeling the loss, and maybe the people who shared in the group tonight. So, you know, it's just finishing sentences about how you felt during your loss. And then the last thing I have here is resources by school for our surrounding 3 counties. So I have Talbot County here, I have Dorchester County, and I have Caroline County Public Schools. And I also decided to include the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. I know sometimes we can get a little overwhelmed, and you know, it may feel hopeless, and you may be at the depression stage where you just feel like, what's the point of going on? And if you guys ever get to the point, I just want you guys to have this resource available to you, and I will, you know, print this out or email it to you guys so you can print it out and have this available to you at all times. And you know, feel free to reach out to me and Tyler with anything else you might need. We'll be calling you guys on your contact information that you guys have filled out on your permission slips. and following up in about a week or two. But if there's anything you guys need before that, our information is also on the original permission slips. Just give us a call and reach out to us. Any questions? Anybody have anything else they would like to say?
I want to add that I really enjoyed coming to these sessions. I think it really helped me a lot, and it really opened my eyes to different resources that I have, and that I can hash out differences between me and somebody else, and that I'm not always right, and the other person's not always right. But the one question I have is that because I did so well with this group and I really learned a lot from it, is there going to be another group that we could all possibly attend, or that myself could attend, possibly in the future, rather than just ending it today?
So this is going to be the end of this group and this topic, but we're always running different types of groups for different subjects. This one just so happened to be COVID-19 because we're approaching the end of the school year, and we just wanted to see how people were managing through this year so we can, improve for next year and see what we can do. But there definitely will be other group sessions, and if you guys are comfortable, I would encourage you to give each other contact information at the end of this session. We'll hang around so that you guys are safe, and pass on your contact information so you guys can support each other and talk to each other outside of the group. But we definitely plan on doing more of these sessions, and it'll be posted in the school's newsletters and with the school counselors as soon as we have more information on that.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, guys. Well, we're really glad to hear that you guys all, took something out of this group. Even you guys that, maybe didn't share in this session, I hope you guys shared in previous sessions and were able to make some connections and find some importance in this group. I know school's been really tough. It's been really tough to telework. We talked about food insecurity, and I did, want to let you guys know that outside of the group, you guys can give us a call and we can help you with those things, but also your school counselors can help you with those things, and they're available to you guys all day, every day while you're attending school in school hours. So definitely use those resources we provided in the future. All right, guys. Well, thank you.